Welcome to 2024, the year named after the best TV show of all time, of course. So, there's a whole lot upcoming this year. Lots of it is officially on the docket, some of it is speculated, some is simply rumor. As a console, primarily Nintendo gamer, I definitely have an angle on exactly which games I'm most looking forward to. And even though, as I mentioned in the top 7 video, it seems like the Switch is on its way out the door, there's still some gas left in the tank. Besides that, there's plenty of games coming to PC and other consoles this year too. We've got some great releases in the pipeline, and I want to talk about them. Today I'll only be going over the games that have been officially confirmed by the developers to be on their way this year. This means that, as much as I am ecstatic for Shadow of the Erd Tree and Silksong, we still don't know for sure that these games will be coming out this year, even if they're both fairly likely. Well, I mean, who knows with Silksong at this point. Anyway, I'll also be steering clear of rumors and patterns, so even though I'm looking forward to whatever Pokemon game comes out this year, well, sort of, as well as the impending Switch 2, those kinds of things won't be featured on this list either. With all that said, let's talk about my own most anticipated games of 2024. Let me start by saying this. I actually don't know much about this game. I never played Hyper Light Drifter, but it looks really neat. It's got such a strong sense of style, you know? I've always loved games that really wear their style on their sleeve, games that don't concern themselves with realism or bleakness or whatever, but that jump out with palettes as punchy as their gameplay. That's why the sequel to this game, Hyper Light Breaker, is high on my list of games that I'm excited to play this year. I mean, just look at it, it's so bright and beautiful. It's described as an open-world roguelike, which is interesting. It seems to be a case where the world is made up of a series of, for lack of a better term, biomes with distinct theming and enemies, but the layouts of the biome, as well as the world in general, are procedurally generated every time you die. This, to me, sounds awesome. Obviously, when you think of a roguelike, you tend to think of top-down or isometric experiences like Dreamscaper and Hades, or side-scrollers like Dead Cells and Have a Nice Death. Though I'm certain they exist, I've never heard of another game that is this open-world 3D roguelike before, and that is super exciting to me. Plus, for anyone who's seen my Tears of the Kingdom world review, link on the screen now, I firmly believe that the single element that sets bland open worlds apart from great ones is the joy of traversal, and it looks like Hyper Light Breaker has plenty of options in this department. This shouldn't be a surprise. Heart Machine, the developers behind this game, also made Solar Ash, a game with lots of style and a very fun traversal system. All in all, I'm super excited to play this game. An early access release is currently scheduled for this year, and you'd better believe I'll be a part of it. Alright, so I've only just started playing Hades, Supergiant Games' 2020 masterpiece, in the last couple of weeks, but I'm already in love. I'm something like the millionth person to say this, but there's something so unique and so special about this game. The way that it pieces together fluid movement, weighty combat, the roguelike randomness, and player progression makes this game such a joy to play. And, while I'm not very far in the story yet, the character designs and voice acting are all just wonderful. Part of me knows that this game will keep me occupied for a long time, but it's a roguelike that takes place in Greek mythology, meaning that the material for the story, gameplay, characters, and worlds is basically boundless. As such, it's no surprise that Hades 2 is on its way this year, and that game is looking to be as phenomenal as the first. Playing as a new character, sister to Hades protagonist Zagreus and princess to the underworld Melino, will be escaping the underworld again, this time to defeat Kronos. From what I've seen in the reveal trailer, this looks like it's keeping all the good stuff from the original game, the art and designs, the fun combat, the progression, and expanding it with Melino's more witchy style and moveset. I'll be plenty busy with the original Hades until its sequel releases. It's coming out in early access in Q2, so spake Supergiant Games, but I still can't wait for it to drop. Haunty is the debut game of indie studio Moonloop, and I'm really stoked to play it. It's an adorable isometric puzzler, think games like Tunic and Hob, even some of the 2D Zelda games, combined with twin-stick shooter elements. It stars this little ghosty guy here, the titular Haunty, as they make their way through the afterlife world Eternity. Throughout the game, you'll be engaging in combat encounters, solving environmental puzzles, and exploring Eternity, which is described by Moonloop as a series of handcrafted, tight yet open-ended environments. One of the key features of this game is said to be a relaxed, slow-burn story about who Haunty is, what their life was like, and how they ended up in Eternity. You encounter many creatures, Eternians, that are inhabitants of this world, as well as many other ghosts like yourself. Haunty is described as a lost soul, and while we don't know a ton about this game, some of these other characters seem to fit that bill too. With its cutesy art style, passive storytelling, and its dealing with the afterlife through unique gameplay, it reminds me a lot of Spiritfarer by Thunder Lotus Games. I quite liked Spiritfarer, and Haunty seems to share some inspiration, despite the fact that the two games are in completely different genres. But the astral themes of the games and the slow-paced trip through the afterlife plant so many seeds of memory for me, and I consider this to be a great thing, regardless of whether this inspiration is explicit. Overall, I really enjoyed all of the gameplay and art that I've seen while following this game, so I'm extremely interested in Haunty. It's currently slated to release in Q2 2024 for PC and all consoles, so you can bet that I'll be playing it on day one. Throughout the course of this channel, my favorite video, in terms of both the creation and the end product, has been this one, Paper Mario: The Spiritless Successor. It was a great time to make, I'm quite happy with the way it turned out, and getting to dive into the Paper Mario series was a good time. That said, at the time of the video's creation around a year ago, I had only played the Origami King, the game which the video is about, as well as bits and pieces of the original Paper Mario and Sticker Star. I'd never even touched the game in the series that most fans of the series seem to agree is the finest of them, the Thousand Year Door. Well, lo and behold, the Thousand Year Door is getting a full remake on the Switch, and it's coming out this year, and well, to be honest, I'm a bit nervous that this game won't speak to me, but I'm still very eager to try it out. Despite making a video on this series, I've managed to avoid any spoilers or story beats on the Thousand Year Door. I have finished the original Paper Mario, which is a good game, and most seem to consider the Thousand Year Door to be a singularly superior sequel. All in all, I'll be very interested to play the Thousand Year Door. It's on my maybe list of videos to make, so I'll be taking notes and recording it. I'd love to have something interesting to contribute to the conversation about a game to which I called its successor Spiritless, but I just don't know yet. It looks good, the remake looks total, not just an upscale, and the original art style still holds up. I can't wait to give it a try. No release date more specific than 2024 is currently available, so it remains to be seen if this game sticks to it, especially given the rumors of the upcoming Switch 2 or whatever it will be called, but here's hoping it does. Now, before we get to number 1, it's time to visit the DLC corner. There's a couple of games that are getting DLC this year that I'm really excited for, even if the games themselves have already been released. 2 games, in fact. The first is a game that I've featured in almost every video I've made, even if you haven't noticed. Eastward is a 2021 RPG by Pixpill, starring John, the protective, stoic caretaker that works figurative magic with a pan, and Sam, an excitable, hyper little girl that works literal magic and has an incredibly mysterious backstory, as they are thrust into a journey through a near-future post-apocalypse. I played this game on release, and it just spoke to me. What can I say? The gameplay was a ton of fun, I love good pixel art, the environments and characters were all clever and cute, and, until Sea of Stars, this game had my favorite soundtrack of the decade. You've listened to it in most of my videos on both channels, and it's simply wonderful. Well, at the end of this month, Eastward is getting some DLC, and it's a farming simulator side mode? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of it either. The Octopia expansion seems very weird. I'm just not sure yet if it's the good kind of weird. I love a good farming sim. We'll see that come to pass in about 45 seconds here, so there's clearly a lot of potential. Octopia is, supposedly, taking the characters from the main story of Eastward and putting them in a completely alternate world where the dangers, perils, and plots from the campaign are all gone. Instead, it's a heartwarming, story-driven farming sim. I'm replaying Eastward now for the first time since its release, and I'll go straight into Octopia when it releases at the end of January. I'll be making a video, but the tone of that video very much remains to be seen. Either way, I'm interested to see what Octopia has to offer. The other game in the DLC corner is a farming sim too, but it's not just a farming sim, it's the farming sim. Technically, we don't have confirmation that Stardew Valley's 1.6 update is coming out in 2024, but we've been hearing about it for a year or so, and we've been steadily learning about the content for what was originally planned to be a small, mostly under-the-hood update for modding the game. It now seems to be one of the biggest updates to the game yet. Maybe not quite on the same scale as 1.5's Ginger Island expansion, but with multiple new events, lots of new dialogue, winter outfits, new late game progress, and whatever this is, it seems to be feature rich. I especially love the Joja alternatives here because, as we all know, Pierre is going to hell and I'm not interested in joining him. But most importantly, for me, it's adding 8-player multiplayer. This isn't a huge deal for everyone, but I have lots of friends that love this game, and I want to have a full Chaos Farm where we all fight over the bachelors and bachelorettes, teams Leah and Elliot forever, and just have a great time. Each of the updates has gone some way to reinvigorating my love for this game, and 1.6 is sure to do the same. Alright, so my number one most anticipated game of the year isn't some big budget release or a game with a huge campaign. If Silksong were confirmed, this game would still top it for me. The development studio behind one of my favorite games of all time has slated their next game for release this year, and I'm so unbelievably excited for this game. Do you already know what it is? It's Earthblade by Extremely OK Games. As we all know, I love Celeste. It's one of the best. Easily my favorite 2D platformer, comfortably in my top 5 games of all time, the works. And the team from Celeste has been working on their next game, Earthblade, for years now, and it looks freaking amazing. The developers are back, Lena Raine is making the soundtrack again, and it's set to become another one of my favorite games. Ever since the Vibe reveal on the 19th of April 2021, and yes, I remember that date by heart, I've been obsessed with this game's development, but I'll try to contain myself and tell you what we know. Earthblade, the next game by Extremely OK Games, is a 2D exploration platformer in a seamless world. Although Maddie Thorson, the primary developer and lead designer behind both Celeste and Earthblade, has pushed back on the designator of Metroidvania, it seems like this game takes cues from that subgenre. You play as a character called a Child of Fate, whose name is spelled like this, and to whom I'll be referring as Nevoa, as the developers did in a Q&A video on the game about a year ago. Please remember the channel-wide rule on pronunciation critique being exclusive to subscribers. Anyway, you explore this world and fight monsters, progressing and meeting other characters along the way. The story and detailed mechanics are still mostly being kept under wraps, but what has been shown off thus far looks really cool. Though we haven't received much news since the reveal trailer at the Game Awards in 2022, we've been getting periodic clips of gameplay and development. Extremely OK Games seems to be sticking to the 2024 release window, and I'm itching to get my hands on this game. I think that just about covers my most anticipated games of this year. Let me know what games you're looking forward to this year. Leave a comment telling me what else you'd think I'd be interested in or games that you're excited about. And be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons while you're down there. It'd really mean the world to me. I recently started a new Minecraft series over on Volcaronite Plays, an SMP world with lots of the crew from Cursed Life, as well as some new faces. If you're interested, head over there to see my ridiculous first day in the world. But that's all I've got for you today, so enjoy your day and take care.